Greg Pikel, another special edition of the Penn State Blitz, live from Michigan Stadium, where it's surprisingly nice out. Late on Saturday night, Penn State lost 42-7.
Yes.
Actually, it was far worse than 42-17. At one point, this team was unbeaten, and it looked like they were going to beat Ohio State. Look at where we are now. Is it surprising to you that they're 6-3 and they haven't really been all that competitive on offense against Michigan State and Michigan?
Yeah, I don't think the record's all that surprising because I think most either had Penn State 9-3 or 10-2 in the regular season. Now, there was a lot of debate about where those losses were going to come. Was it going to be Ohio State? Was it going to be Michigan State? Was it going to be Michigan? Was it going to be the guy leaf blowing in the suites up there? So I think the record at this point isn't stunning. The fact that Penn State literally looks like the 2015 and 2014 versions of itself on offense is, I think, the most concerning thing. You know, we sat in there and heard a lot of players and James Franklin say that, well, they're number one defense in the country for a reason. Well, they're a top 10 team in the country. Well, Penn State was a top 20 team before this game. I don't know if they are after it. But at the end of the day, Bob, the thing that just strikes me is how do they get this offense figured out moving forward? Because it's not as if, you know, it's a good Michigan team, but a lot of the things that are problems aren't necessarily fixable overnight and aren't necessarily things that, you know, even a mediocre defense could pick up, or, you know, could not pick up.
So, Greg, one thing I thought that was extremely disappointing was the way that Penn State's defense started the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan came out and Bo Schembechler them just ran the ball down the field on them. They had one big run, a couple of little runs, but there was nothing fancy at all about Michigan's game plan to start 8 plays, 76 yards. We just almost saw our cameraman get trampled.
Yeah, but
it was literally this close.
It was a good explanation, though. The bottles of water the case of water just got ran over. That was Penn State's.
That was some perfectly good water, just blown to hell. Anyway. But yeah, that opening drive kind of set the tone. When you play defense the way Michigan does and you get a 7-0 lead, I mean, Penn State was behind the 8 ball almost from the start, and they could not afford to do that against this team.
Now, one of the things you and Dave rather talked about on the way to the stadium was that Penn State could not let Michigan get a lead. And it's almost hard to believe that this game was 14-0 before the Shea Patterson touchdown pass and then the Tommy Stevens pick 6.
Right.
Pretty much ended the game in terms of the scoreboard. But it was probably already over at that point anyway. I mean, DeAndre Tompkins, he was wide open right here behind us is where he would have caught it and walked into the end zone. That would have changed things for Penn State instead. It was 14-0 at the break, but they never really, you know, that was maybe the one chance they had to put points on the board. It never really came otherwise until very late in the game. They get a lot to figure out, and, you know, Ricky Ronnie can do the direct snaps to Miles Sanders, and they work here and there, and that's fine, but this running game is all of a sudden pretty stagnant, too.
I was going to say, how concerned should Penn State fans be about the disappearance of Miles Sanders, number one, and the inability of this offensive line to hold up against a good defensive line? Iowa gave these guys problems last week, too. It's great that Penn State won the game. You look at the stats, they didn't get a lot of yards in that game. They only had 11 first downs, less than 200 yards in this game. You know, the Michigan defensive ends, number 6 and Chase Winovich, did what they wanted when it was time to rush the passer. I just think that this was the last chance really Penn State had to kind of get a statement win, or at least hang in there against a good team. I do expect them to run the table. I think they will beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a flawed team this year. Not good quarterback play away from Camp Randall. I think that they're going to be in good shape there, and I just think Maryland and Rutgers really don't count. So you're looking at essentially a 9-3 team, which is what a lot of people picked. But, you know, I would say in 2 of the 3 losses they had a chance to win the game. So this could have been an 11-win team, albeit not a perfect 11-win team, but they've let games slip away, and they've got some veterans on this team. This shouldn't be happening, I think, in the 5th year of James Franklin's program.
You know what the bigger problem to me, Bob, is how many times, this is the 3rd time they've lost now, and it's actually happened after one of the Windy Indiana game, where Trace McSorley and some of these guys, they sit in the media room after the game and they say, this has to get fixed, that has to get fixed, we have to get back to the little things, want to know, dedication, hard work, all this stuff. At some point, it's a bit concerning that they can't seem to get this fixed. I know this is a young team in a lot of ways, and there's sort of an age gap between the leaders and some of the key contributors, but I don't know, man. They got a lot to figure out. There's no question. I agree with you. I think they struggle a little bit with Wisconsin next week, but they ultimately win. Maryland and Rutgers are cakewalks, so we'll see. But you're right. This was the one chance they had to sort of put a nice staple win on this season. It just wasn't meant to be.
I'll tell you the more troubling thing is, and no one's going to want to hear this, but they could have lost to Appalachian State.
Sure.
They could have, if Nate Stanley didn't self-destruct late in that game, they could have lost to Iowa, and Indiana had them in trouble too. That's 3 more games they could have lost. I just think that this is a team that, I just go back, Greg, to the Ohio State game, what Franklin said about we're a great team, we're going to be elite, and it's all spiraled downhill from that post-game press conference. I think he made a huge mistake addressing it that way. I think he sent the wrong message to the team that they were close when they really weren't close.
Right.
And we don't see Ricky Slade anymore. None of the young wide receivers are really making any plays. Juwan Johnson didn't play.
Yeah, Dotson though.
Yeah. It just seems to me like the tale of the season has been written already, and there's still 4 games left to play, and it's just not, I think, a narrative that anyone is really excited about.
No, or expected for that matter. I mean, I don't think, even if you saw Penn State being 9-3 and losing to Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan, I don't think anyone saw them losing in the ways that they did. The close game to Ohio State, but you can't make a play late. The Michigan State game, you blow a lead, and then here you come out here to Ann Arbor and just get thoroughly run.
Yeah, this is the second fewest points a Penn State team has scored under James Franklin. I think we all remember the 29-6 game. I'm just kidding. The 29-6 game, the loss to Northwestern in 2014. I'm just really surprised that 2 years ago they got their doors kicked in 49-10 by this Michigan team, and I thought Penn State had gotten past the point of getting their doors kicked in by a rival in the Big Ten. And I could make the argument that this performance is maybe more unsettling than the 49-10 loss 2 years ago. And some people, maybe some coaches, maybe some players have to look themselves in the mirror. And things have to change soon, because I just think that this season is trending towards a disappointment. I didn't really think that was possible this year.